Good morning, everyone. So, I am starting to give a lecture on the topic solid waste management. So, I am from the Department of Chemistry, Brainware University. So, first, let us consider what is solid waste. Or before knowing, before managing the solid waste, we should know what is solid waste. So, solid waste includes all the discarded materials whether they are physical or they are no longer needed or wanted by the generator. So this includes a wide range of materials, including from household garbage to industrial and agricultural byproducts. So solid waste can be generated by various sources, which include residential, commercial, industrial, and agricultural activities. So what does solid waste management include? So it includes the systematic administration of activities that starts with collection, source, separation, storage of the solid waste, transporting the solid waste, processing the solid waste, and treating the solid waste and ultimately disposal. So ultimate the main goal of the solid waste management is to manage the waste in a manner that protects human health and the environment while being economically viable and socially acceptable. So there are 13 components of the solid waste. So first is waste generation and source reduction, collection and transportation, processing and recovery, and final disposal method. So here we have given what is the status of the solid waste generation by the numbers. So it has been seen that about 2.01 billion tons of solid waste are generated annually, and it is projected that by 2050 it will be increased to 3.4 billion tons. Now next we will discuss what are the types or classification of solid waste. So it has been seen that solid waste has been majorly classified into three major types: municipal solid waste, industrial waste, and special waste. So in municipal solid waste, this includes mainly the waste from household, business, and institutions, which includes food scraps, might be paper, plastic, glasses, etc. Another type is industrial waste, which includes waste from the manufacturing process that might also include hazardous materials like heavy metals and byproducts. And there are special waste categories which are included recently in the list of solid waste management. They are electronic waste and biomedical waste and agricultural waste. So if we look into the composition part of solid waste, it is seen that the major waste, about 44%, contains organic waste, 17% contains paper and cardboard, about 12% waste is made up of plastic, and 18% consists of other materials. So by name, if we classify the composition of solid waste, it can be classified into biodegradable waste. So biodegradable waste are the waste that decompose naturally, which includes food scraps, yard waste, and paper. Non-biodegradable waste that cannot be decomposed easily, such as plastic, glass, and metal. Hazardous waste, waste which poses a various health risk, maybe to the human health or to the environment. And non-hazardous waste that do not poses any kind of significant risk. Now, in the waste management hierarchy process, so it has been seen that the most preferred part of waste management is prevention of solid waste generation and source reduction. Second most preferred is reuse of the solid waste generated. Third is recycling and composting. So we will be discussing about the composting part in detail in the later part of the presentation. energy recovery, like any kind of renewable materials or renewable fuels, if it can be generated from the solid waste decomposition, and the least preferred is the disposal. So here we will just discuss about the various collection systems which are involved in the solid waste collection. So there are most common are the collection methods are curbside collection, which includes door-to-door pickup service, drop-off centers like citizens bring their waste to designated locations. There are large containers in the apartment buildings for putting the solid waste, and sometimes there are underground vacuum networks which are called pneumatic systems. And there are various collection vehicles involved which are front loading containers, roll off containers for construction debris. Next, we will be discussing about the most important part of solid waste, that is solid waste treatment technologies. So the common solid waste treatment technologies includes the biological treatment. So under biological treatment, uh, composting is the most commonly used biological treatment that we use for solid waste management. So in composting, the organic matter or the like decomposable solid waste matter is decomposed in the presence of oxygen. So certain bacteria are there which when the solid waste are degraded or mineralized into some organic fertilizers which can be further applied as a in the form of biofertilizer or for the purpose of organic farming. Another is anaerobic digestion. So here the digestion process is carried out in the absence of oxygen and produces biogas and digestate. Another new trending technology that is used in biological treatment is vermicomposting. So in vermicomposting, we use earthworms for organic waste breakdown. Another type is thermal treatment. So in thermal treatment, incineration is a process. So basically, we use thermal treatment for the managing the biomedical waste. So in incineration, we used to, so incineration can be further divided into two types. So incineration is basically heating the waste at a very high temperature. Sometimes it can be used, like it can be carried out, the thermal treatment can be carried out in the presence of oxygen and sometimes in the presence of controlled amount of oxygen. So in pyrolysis and gasification are two different types of thermal treatment. So in pyrolysis, the thermal decomposition is carried out without oxygen. And in the gasification process, sometimes we inject control amount of oxygen to produce a specific gas which we call syngas. So the composition of syngas contains mainly of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. Another important part in the waste treatment technology is material recovery. So in material recovery, mechanical sorting and separation is involved, and sometimes magnetic and eddy current separation is also. Next, we will discuss about the recycling process. So the recycling process mainly starts with the collection, then it goes with the sorting part. Like we sort the different type of waste, like biodegradable, non-biodegradable part. We sort it out. After that, cleaning process, and after the cleaning process is executed, we go with the processing process and ultimately manufacturing process. So as we have already discussed what is composting, so this is generally called the nature's recycling process. So it is a natural process. It is mainly carried out by the bacterial organisms or microbiological organisms, mainly bacteria. So composting is the controlled biological decomposition of organic materials in order to produce a humus-like product which can be directly applied for soil amendment or can be directly used as a biofertilizer or organic fertilizer. So there are certain benefits of composting. So it can reduce methane emission from the landfills. It diverts organic waste from the disposal, and obviously it supports sustainable agriculture. So another management of solid waste which is carried out in large area, that is sanitary landfill management. So sanitary landfill management or landfills are engineered facilities which are designed to safely contain waste and minimize the environmental impact. So the key design consideration in sanitary landfill management are liner systems. So liner systems are being applied in order to prevent the contamination of groundwater. Now leachate collection, the leachate is the liquid which the contaminated liquid which comes out from the solid waste. So we need to capture the leachate and to treat the liquid waste. So there is another chamber which we call the gas collection chamber. So here from the solid waste, since this landfill management is an anaerobic process, so we capture methane and that can be used as a renewable source of energy. And for the daily cover, we can use soil or alternative novel materials in order to cover the waste. Now, we all know, so what are the major environmental impacts of poor solid waste management? So I will be like discussing the main highlighted topics that we generally face in our day-to-day life. So first, most common impacts of poor waste management is air pollution, greenhouse gas emission, groundwater pollution, soil and land degradation, land use conflicts, and loss of productive agricultural land. And the public health risks that actually arise from poor waste management includes the transmission of various kind of diseases through the various vectors like rats and insects. Air pollution causes various kind of respiratory problems and contaminated water. And now these are the economic aspects of waste management. So if we look into the economic side, we can see that many jobs can be created in the waste management sector. Resource recovery can be done. The various kind of renewable energy source can be generated from the waste. It can be economically feasible, and tourism and property value preservation can also. So another hot topic in solid waste management is circular economy and waste management. So what is circular economy? It is basically an economic model that aims to eliminate the waste by continually using the resources, thereby creating a closed loop system. So the principles which we implement in circular economy are design out waste, products which are designed for durability and reuse, now sharing, repair and refurbishment, and regenerate the natural system. How we regenerate the natural system? By returning the nutrients back to the biosphere. Now there are certain technologies and innovations in waste management. So nowadays smart waste management can be done through various kind of mobile apps, by various kind of IoT real-time monitoring sensors of bin seal levels. Advanced processing technologies include robotic sorting, which is AI-powered materials and separation, conversion of biomass materials means to find out various kind of biodegradable alternatives, and in data analytics we can do various kind of waste generation forecasting, like what is the amount of waste that will be generated, monitoring and optimization, and there are various tools which we can do cost benefit analysis. Now these are the policy and regulatory framework. So globally there are various international and national policies that had been formulated for solid waste management, and like if we highlight onto the sustainable development goals 11 and 12 focus on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So there are certain challenges which we generally face in waste management. So technical challenges includes lack of any kind of standardization process, contamination in the recycling streams. Economic challenges include volatile commodity markets, lack of funding for developing countries, and social and behavioral changes which includes the most common one that public are not aware and lack of participation. So, concluding my today's lecture with solid waste management. So, we have seen that effective solid waste management is very much crucial and important for environmental protection, public health, and sustainable development. So, um, we know that circular economy is a very hot topic. So, if we implement circular economy and various kind of new technologies and innovation, that can definitely offer promising solutions to solid waste management. Thank you.